Who needs friends when you've got The Sims? For over 20 years, The Sims franchise has been a constant fixture of the gaming industry, delighting millions of fans around the globe by allowing them to observe and shape the lives of their little computer people. Not too shabby considering that series creator Will Wright originally couldn't even convince developer Maxis that the first game was worth making. And I'm sure many of you out there have fond memories of The Sims 1. Who can forget the first time they swiped the ladder out during a pool party or created a zoo of human misery on their lawn? What other game allowed you to marry your friend's wife only to have her die tragically the next morning in a house fire she started when attempting to cook breakfast? What game let you plead with the Grim Reaper to bring your second wife back to life as a zombie after she contracted an illness from a guinea pig? With its potential for emergent storytelling, open-ended approach to gameplay that lacked traditional goals or win states, and novel premise, The Sims attracted a more casual audience and even managed to appeal to that elusive female demographic. But the thing is, how many of you actually played the base version of The Sims 1? And for those of you who did, how many of you actually remember it? Following its breakout success, publisher Electronic Arts wasted no time ordering Maxis to start work on several expansions, which were eventually bundled with the base game. These expansions not only included big new features, such as the ability to go to community lots, go on vacation, and adopt pets, but they also added a bunch of quality of life improvements and small subtle enhancements. Everybody remembers how much of a pain in the ass maintaining relationships was in The Sims 1, but it was even worse in the vanilla version, as simply calling a sim up to chat wasn't even an option. Every single time you called a sim, you were inviting them over, and given how wary sims are about making new friends, this often meant you just had to spam them repeatedly until they finally relented. In addition to this, the game only launched with 2 pre-made families already living in the neighborhood, and the game won't generate any NPCs, aside from stuff like police officers and mailmen who can't be interacted with. So you've also got to manually move in Sims and ensure that they've got a phone, just to ensure you've got a healthy pool of people to socialize with. But socialization is a luxury you likely won't have time for, as your needs decay so quickly that simply managing to keep your sim in a decent enough mood to go to work is a challenge in itself. Having a spouse or a roommate is practically a necessity, so you can whore them out to win friends and take care of household chores, while the other sim focuses on the daily grind of work and finding moments of relative happiness so you can chip away at those required skills. This isn't helped by the fact that The Sims 1 seems to take place in a version of purgatory where individual days don't hold any meaning, and you're expected to show up for school and work every single day until the end of time. It's funny, The Sims can be read as either a celebration or condemnation of the American dream, depending on your own leanings. In The Sims, working hard does allow you to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, move up the corporate ladder, and achieve financial stability and ultimately success, but doing so will frequently lead to you passing out in puddles of your own piss, waking up in a sea of depression, asking yourself if it's all worth it, only to start the cycle all over again. It's pretty obvious why cheat codes became so widely distributed and accepted within The Sims fandom, as attempting to set up a unique neighborhood is almost impossible without them. Each family starts with the same 20,000 simoleons, so if you were trying to build a suitable house for a family of 5, then you were pretty SOL, and grinding out the necessary amount of money for every single family you made would have quickly become a soul-crushing experience. It was also far easier for the social simulation aspects and emergent storytelling to take center stage when you weren't completely focused on keeping your sim happy enough just to grind out a paycheck, and it's obvious Maxis quickly realized that that's where the appeal of the series lied, as the expansions would lean more heavily into those elements. And it's strange how many of the iconic objects and features that people associate with the first game are nowhere to be found in Vanilla Sims 1. There's no tragic clown, no robot butler, no vibrating love bed, and by extension no woohooing of any sort, no telescopes allowing you to be abducted by aliens, no guinea pigs, and no Santa. Hell, the Grim Reaper doesn't even show up when you die. There's still a comedic undercurrent to the whole experience, but it lacks much of the wackiness that's come to define The Sims in the years since. Still, despite all of the ways it's aged, there is a certain gamey magic to the vanilla version of The Sims 1 that the series has lost over its lifespan. The never-ending quest to lock in the perfect schedule for your Sims remains oddly addicting, and it's ridiculously easy to find yourself getting sucked in for just one more day, the same way a great strategy game sucks you in for just one more turn. It always feels like the next big breakthrough is right around the corner. Now, would I recommend anybody else go back and play Vanilla Sims 1 these days? Not really. The Sims Sims 2 improved upon it in essentially every way, and even if you're in the mood for that classic Sims 1 challenge, then you'd be better off with a copy of the complete collection. But from a historical standpoint, it's completely fascinating to go back and witness the origins of one of my favorite series, because the more things change, the more they stay the same. Now, if you'll excuse me, that human zoo isn't going to expand itself.